Not yet. I gotta set the Discord to where they can hear you. One second. Say something. Now.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yep, they chat can hear you. Alright, guys, I'm gonna let my co-host take over for me on this one. I'm still gonna be PvPing and talking, but Karis has got some subjects for y'all, topics to bring to the table. So, as always, welcome to the RoR Podcast, and the floor's open for any discussions. Karis, all yours.
All right, thanks once again, Toth. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls on all the ships at sea. This is the Toth Monitor Podcast. Once again, let me go ahead and state my purpose here. I come in every podcast just to help Toth out, because extended periods of talking can give him a little bit of a problem. So I don't mind at all helping out. And today we do have I do have a topic to discuss, but I want to say up front, Toth, that may be a little truncated, because I do have somewhere I have to be just a few minutes after 2 o'clock. So
no worries. Usually with
okay.
usually when I've done open discussions like this, I usually ends up cutting short because people just don't want to speak, or we usually finish up a little early on them. So
Okay. I want to introduce a topic. I'll go ahead and just get right to it. I want to introduce a topic, and somebody could go over to the other guy streaming and say the Top Miner Podcast is live. But anyway, I want to throw a topic out there. Now, there's a thread on the forums right now entitled "Remove Surrender or Add Penalty," and it's not so much that I want to talk about. We can talk about the surrender option in scenarios, because the short version of that is I'm not a big fan. I never have been. But I think it was just it was an offshoot of the fact that in order to support the rank scenario SCs, they took all the SC spawn point guards for almost every SC in the game, and they moved them back as to be irrelevant. And they did that so that in the rank scenario SC, one team could not get one kill and then go run under the umbrella of the spawn point guards, because apparently at one point people were doing that. So I understood why they had to move the guards. My solution to that was just make a standard rank solo SC, one SC that you designed for ranked, and that's where they all took place, and set everything else back for everybody else the way it was. However, instead, as opposed to doing that, they added a surrender option. All right, so the surrender option is a whole nother issue, which I think just helps kill the competitive nature that the game depends on. This game depends on people being competitive, and if you give them a way not to be competitive, then they won't be competitive. That aside, on page, if you go to this thread, remove surrender, on page 1, there is a post. It's post number 9 by a guy by the name of Bitrio. And one of the things he says here, your option is to enable surrender debuff, so this already low pop game has even less people in queue. And then he says, instead of forcing people away, think of ways to make the game better for new and solo players. All right, well, I have a suggestion of a way to make the game better, not only for new and solo players, but for everybody. And so I want to talk about that suggestion, and I would like for somebody, to comment on my suggestion. And it is this. In one word, it's summed up as randomness. All right, what is the game at the moment? Return of Reckoning has devolved. In my opinion, Return of Reckoning has devolved into the hamster running on a flywheel. And that's what the game is. The hamster running on a flywheel. It runs and runs and runs and never gets anywhere. And never really accomplishes much worthwhile other than just to expend some energy. And the game is just a repetitive cycle over and over again. Take this zone, take that zone, take a fort, rinse and repeat. Every now and then a city comes up. Every now and then the land of the dead comes up. Otherwise, it's just running in the flywheel. Take this zone, take that zone, take a fort, rinse and over and over and over again. And rarely does it happen. Okay, how could we address that issue? How could we make the game a bit more interesting? How could we introduce a little level of excitement into it? And it's all under the term of randomness. People are always complaining, well, maybe that's not the right word, but people are always talking about the double renown, double experience events that take place. And you see it on the forums, you see it in the Discord. Okay, my first suggestion is that you take the double renown and double experience and you put it on a completely random basis. Every now and then, just out of the blue, a notification goes up across the board on all the computer screens. Double renown in effect for the next 4 hours. All right. Now, the first complaint that our counter argument that you're going to get, well, what about those people who aren't on at that particular time? Too bad for them. Randomness. It's random, okay? Double experience is in effect for the next 4 hours, whenever that happens to be. And you would do it enough that people would be aware of the possibility, but not so much to be routine. That's the fine line you have to walk, in that the double renown, double experience would come up every now and then. Unpredictable. Nobody would know until somebody hit the switch. And then it would just be, for the next 4 hours, next 6 hours, whatever you wanted to make it. Or maybe even the next 24 hours, whatever time frame. But nobody would know when it was coming. Nobody would know until it actually showed up on the screen. And then, oh my God, look, double renown for the next 4, 6, 8, 24 hours, whatever. Okay. That's a level that adds just a small level of excitement and anticipation. And what is anticipation? Think about what that word means. It means you're looking forward to something happening. When's the last time you looked forward to a fortress assault? Oh, I can't wait. Oh my God, I can't wait. When's the last time you had anticipation about any fracking thing when it comes to, we're going to take Calidor again. Oh my God, I can't wait. Well, maybe this time, the double renown will come up and last for as long as we're in Calidor. You could tie it to a zone, right? However long Calidor is open, double renown is in effect. All right, the second one. We have these live events all the time where, like Korn's Goblet of Blood, for those who remember that one, where the giant model of Korn is rampaging around the Chaos Waste. Or most recently, we had Gorlock the Destroyer. I don't know what that guy, the big Nurgle, I can't remember what his name is, but he looks like Gorlock the Destroyer. For those of you who know who Gorlock the Destroyer is, there, I'll put a link. That's a picture of Gorlock the Destroyer. But every now and then, when people are running around in Reichland or people are running around in Black Crag or wherever, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, with no advance notification, Gorlock the Destroyer shows up and goes after everybody. Okay? It's just a bit of randomness. It's just a bit of excitement. It's like, oh my God, okay, we weren't really planning on this, but there he is. There's Korn with his Goblet of Blood rampaging around. why we're trying just to introduce something different, right? Just to introduce something different, something unexpected. And again, you would do it often enough that people would be aware that it could happen, but not so often as to be routine. That's the key. And then you could also have the hand of God. Now, I actually talked to Wargrinder about this one, the hand of God. I actually talked to him about this one. For those of you who remember when Gunbad opened up, and I was here when Gunbad opened up, they had an event to mark the opening of Gunbad, where they said, everybody come to Gunbad, where it is, right? Everybody come up here for the official opening ceremony. And then they turned it into an RVR zone. There was a huge fight for a few minutes. And then one of the devs pushed his magic dev button and they nuked everybody. There's still video of this somewhere on YouTube. I remember watching it. I mean, it's still somebody put it up on YouTube and it's still there of when they nuked everybody. So known of as the hand of God. Every now and then, you're running around a zone. You may have like 3 destruction warbands against 1 order warband, and the destruction warbands are bearing down on their prey, and all of a sudden, bam! The hand of God comes down and kills them all. Why not?
Do you realize how bad if that happened, one side would raise Cain? They'd be like, they're taking sides, even though it's random, mind you. So it happened to anybody, it would just the amount of raging that would happen would be.
It would only happen. See, well, again, randomness is the key, and I mentioned 3 destro warbands as just an example. It would happen to either side or both sides or whatever, and again, it would be just often enough that people would, okay, maybe this time, we don't know, maybe, but not often enough that it would be a bother. It's not something that would happen every day or even every week, just every now and then, right? The hand of God comes down and it helps try to keep people awake. And if somebody got upset about it, say there's a huge fight going on in one of the zones, and all of a sudden the hand of God comes down and nukes everybody, it's something that ought to just be, kind of funny, really. It's something that ought to just be, well, that was kind of cool. All right, let's get back together and run back out. I mean, but it's just to add a little bit of the unknown to the game. Okay, you never know when this is going to happen. It just might, maybe, it might. Okay, and then finally, city incursions. We had a live event last year, and part of it where you could open up a portal and actually port to the opposing city and run around and try to accomplish things.
I remember that was
you remember that?
Yeah, a lot of people enjoyed that.
Absolutely. That was the most fun that I had had on this game in a long time. And so you could incorporate that. You could say, all right, everybody's playing, they're running around in Reichland like right now, right? Everybody's running around Reichland.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the notification comes up that says the inevitable city is now open to be raided. Our Altdorf is now open to be raided. And a portal shows up in the war camps of the Chaos Waste for both sides, whichever side is up. If it says Altdorf is now open to be raided, a portal shows up in the war camp and the Chaos Waste. Destruction can go there, click on it, and show up in Altdorf and try to wreak havoc. And again, I mean, that was a blast. That was really fun when that live event was active. Now, I realized that on this particular one, the city is opening up on a random basis like that just to be raided. The devs would probably say something like, well, that's a live event. That's unique to live events. We don't want to make it too typical dev response. But my point is the key word here is randomness. Again, it's something that would happen every now and then, but it would be an absolute blast when it did. Like right now, all these, everybody's running around in Reichland, and I'm not saying, I mean, you can have fun uh, in the zones. That's part of what the game is. But if every now and then, all of a sudden, the inevitable city or outdoor was open to being raided, that adds a whole new dynamic to the game. And just, I had a girlfriend once. Well, actually, I had a girlfriend more than once, but I had this particular girlfriend who, her motto in life was variety is the spice of life. That was her motto. Variety is the spice of life, and that's true. So that's what I'm advocating, that you add a little variety to the Warhammer Online experience. And it's all stuff that's already in place. We have double renown experience, right? How hard can it be to turn that on? All the skins and everything for Khorne or Gorlock the Destroyer, they exist. The Hand of God mechanic, it exists. The devs have used it before. Gunban was not the only time they've done that. They've done that in certain city sieges. I was in a city siege once where our side got nuked because we were spawn camping the respawn point. This was back before they changed where the respawn point was. And I still have video of it. I still have the video where Destro was spawning in right in the middle of our warband because we knew where they would spawn in, and we just kept killing them. Well, they had a dev on. Somebody got in contact with him, and our entire order force got nuked at that point. And so the mechanic is already in place. And the same with the city incursions. They've done it for the live event. It's not like it needs new coding. They've already done the coding, right? So all this stuff is available to be done. And in my opinion, it would just add a little bit of variety. It would just add a little bit of, anticipation. Something different. So, that is my proposal.
It could be interesting to see that. I mean, people, given the current state of how the server is, you'd have a lot of people that would fuss about it because rather than appreciate the fact that it's there to try and spice things up, they would bellyache about it's an inconvenience, or you'd have people storm off and quit playing because they're like, oh, well, the devs are doing this to help this faction, even though it's entirely random.
Yeah, I mean,
that's part of the arguments you would see for against it. I'd say, I mean, if it helps stabilize things or even add some variety things, sure, give it a go.
Well, people are going to complain no matter what you do, or don't do, or what you even think about doing. People are going to complain. Or if you don't think about doing it, they'll complain. People are going to complain. And that's, that lesson has been driven home to me time and time again ever since I started Twitch streaming. But it's true in all walks of life, and it's true here. People are going to complain regardless of what you do. So my response to that is just, okay, what is the standard server response when the devs decide to do something? When they actually decide to do something and they implement it, what do they always say? The standard response is, all together now, everyone, it's a free server, we're testing stuff, get over it. Okay, that is the standard response every time something new has been implemented. Now, sometimes those implementations have been reversed. And again, I always go back to, as the example, a primary example, the whole core guard ability change. that a few years back when they two-hand tanks would only mitigate half the damage of an S&B tank when using guard. That was an actual change that was put in. And when people complained about it, that was the response that the dev team gave. This is a test server. It's a free game. We're testing this. Shut up. Was basically now eventually it was reverted. But for those who would complain about like the hand of God mechanic, okay, we were running around in Chaos Waste and we were actually winning, and all of a sudden all of us got killed. Oh my God. I mean, lighten up. I heard somewhere, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I heard somewhere that this was a game. That this was a video game. I think I read that in a book, that this was a video game. And what's not fun about it? Okay. Akut says that doesn't sound fun. What's not fun about it? We're not talking about a daily occurrence. We're not talking about something that's going to happen every time you get a warband together. It's just something that's going to be out there, right? Like, every time you get in your car, you don't consider the fact that you might get in an accident. But the possibility is there. That's what I'm talking about.
It's not meant to be a benefit acute. I understand the idea behind it because I've seen similar events. It'd be like putting random world bosses randomly spawning and just be a random fight happen. It's a random event. It's designed to shake things up. It's a shock factor to galvanize both sides to either maybe break a stalemate, because you figure, say, middle of a tane, when it's just mindless KD farming, all of a sudden the corn world boss is spawned right in the middle of the fight. Both sides would literally flip out because they'd have to stop what they're doing or risk being wiped out.
And you would have to kill the corn boss, or you'd have to kill Gorlock the Destroyer.
And the whole time you're still fighting the other faction, so it would shake stuff up. And also a hand of God type event, you'd have it would cause people to rethink how they do things.
Well, that was I hope I'm saying that right, but I advanced 5 different possibilities: double renown, double experience, and are both for limited periods of time. Again, just randomly showing up, right? Just all of a sudden, there's a notification that says for the next X number of hours there'll be double renown and experience. Not part of any live event. It just happens, every now and then. The ward bosses that show up, the city incursions. The city incursions, I think, would be huge. If just, all of a sudden, everybody got a notification, like the Inevitable City is now open to be raided, or Altdorf is now open to be raided. The Hand of God thing, I understand, you don't really care for the Hand of God thing. Okay, I respect that. You don't really care for the Hand of God bit. I understand that. But again, my defense of the whole Hand of God thing is that, again, it would be indiscriminate. It wouldn't be targeted to any one side. It would be indiscriminate. So everybody would suffer equally, I suppose, is one way to put it. And again, it would be so random that it's not going to happen so often as to be annoying. That's the key. Something like that you don't want to have happen often enough that it's annoying. You want it to happen just often enough that people are aware of the possibility. And I'll give you one perfect example, just to think about. This is just an example to think about. So you queue into a city, and the Return of Reckoning queuing system does what the Return of Reckoning queuing system does. It puts an entire 24-man pre-made up against 24 pugs with only one healer. Okay. That happens quite often, actually. And so, the pugs make a gallant effort. They're riding in toward the middle BO, and all of a sudden, bam! The Destro Warband is destroyed, and Order has a chance to take the center objective, which then causes Destruction to actually have to fight the battle. From that point on, they would actually have to react and do something other than just sit on their asses in the middle flag. And the same would be true for Order if they were defending Altdorf. Although nobody defends Altdorf anymore. When's the last time anybody attacked Altdorf?
It's partly because Destro doesn't go for keeps or forts, but that's their own choosing, despite the claims that Order has them outnumbered. I've been on Destro plenty of times at night and even during the day and seen where they'll openly just say, we're not defending, we're not gonna bother, let them starve for RR. All they care about is the KD farming out in the zones. So they know what they're doing. It's got nothing to do with being outnumbered one way or the other, because the server's always changing hands. It's got everything to do with player mentality.
Now, this fight you've got going on right now, this would be a great time for Khorne to show up. As an example, right? This type of fight, just as an example. All of a sudden, there's Khorne. Oh my God, Khorne's Goblet of Blood, and everybody has to switch gears for a little bit. And I just think it would be, again, I don't want to beat not a dead horse. It's a brand new suggestion. But to belabor the point, what I'm actually suggesting here is just variety, a little something different than just this, the constant running on the flywheel. So
it's an interesting idea, and I've been here long enough to see some of the events, and I've seen how people react to the case in point, Chaos Waste a few years back when they had the Khorne's avatar that popped in Chaos Waste. There was like 4 war bands both sides. They were duking it out. All of a sudden, the Khorne Blood God avatar spawned. It caused immense havoc because it wiped one Order warband and one Destro warband, if I recall, and it upended the fight. So it broke the stalemate. Both sides were trying to turn to fight it, and they were still fighting each other. It ended up pretty much mutual destruction. Both sides wiped each other because
all right,
the boss. Go ahead.
I've got a video of that. I actually took video and I published a video of that about Khorne's Goblet of Blood. I'm going to put that. Can I put that in your?
Yeah, you got mod status, so yeah. But you definitely want to check that out, Chad. If you want to see what he's talking about with suggestion, it was rather fun because it forced the stalemate that had been going for almost 5 hours to stop, and both sides killed the Blood God and then progressed the zone. And that's what's needed, is something to break this mentality of just sit and farm endlessly.
Now, if you watch that video, I'm kind of running it in the background right now because I haven't seen it. But if you watch the video, what this video was, I captured that video at the very time that Tothmonder was talking about just a moment ago, about being in the Chaos Waste, and all of a sudden, Khorne's avatar just shows up, and that's what this. If you watch the video, that's what this is. It's one of those fights, right? It's one of those fights where Order and Destro were there, and having to fight each other, and also having to fight Khorne. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, right? So this will give you an idea of what my suggestion,
ad break.
what is at the heart.
Ad break. One second.
Oh.
I think a lot of people forget about that. We got about a minute left on that ad break.
There's good music in this video too.
I'll see if I can pull it up and show it here in a minute.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's what I was trying to do.
All right, is the ad break over yet? I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's over. I'm trying to bring up the YouTube thing, but the link is not. Can you
Podcast.
can you relink that? And I'll try to.
Oh, relink it?
Yeah. I'll try to set it up where people can see what you're talking about, so I'll have reference material.
I might not have. Give me a moment. I might have put in the Gorlock the Destroyer link again. Hang on.
Think you did.
Yeah. All right, here it is. Yeah, sorry about that. I put in the Gorlock the Destroyer link again. There we go.
Give me a second to get this set up. People can see it. Hold on, chat, because you really, this will put some context to what Karis is talking about.
Now there's an introduction. Let's see. The actual video of the fight starts at 1 minute 24 seconds in. If you wanna, if you wanna skip.
That's what I just did.
All right, now if anybody just joined and perhaps didn't hear what I was.
Yep, there it is, right there.
Okay. While this video is running, I published this video a couple of years ago, and Toth Monner was talking a few minutes ago about being he was here when this happened, the Chaos Waste and Order and Destruction were fighting, and all of a sudden Korn popped up. Now, it was part of, as I recall, this was part of some live event, right? Um, it was part of some live event, but anyway, we were fighting, and Korn shows up, and then both sides have to take time out to not only fight each other, but to fight, you know, Korn. And I went into, I turned my UI off at first, and went into first-person shooter mode to record this, just to try to get, better video of what was going on. But this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. This was one of the suggestions that I made a little bit, to just spice up the game, to just put a bit of randomness into the game. Something different than what is going on right now with the perpetual running across the flywheel and are running around, just doing the same thing over and over and over. If every now and then, when you were out in a zone like this trying to fight, that's Masayuki. Masayuki was a great guy. I was always sorry to see him leave the game. The game needed, Return to Reckoning needed more people like Masayuki, but he moved on. But anyway, but if every now and then something like this would happen, a world boss just shows up, like you see here, right? Just like you see here. It would just, be interesting, I think. It would be entertaining. It would be unique. And it would give people something else to think about, as opposed to just, again, the same thing in every zone over and over and over again. So I don't
Yeah,
remember what.
yeah, it was a live event. It was something to do, if I remember right. It was offering that you had to make to gain the favor of the blood god. I don't remember all the details. It's been so long ago, but it was havoc trying to fight, because one side, the two
I
sides could
remember
be
this.
fighting the zone, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get this, and you can't just ignore him, because he would wipe entire war bands.
Can you jump in the just for like 5 minutes? Could you jump in the stream? This came in the mail. All right. I was sorry. I was talking to Techno,
I heard.
and uh, I was talking to Techno, and he remembers. I was just going to see if he could come in and talk about this live event, because he remembers it, and the details of what it was. But anyway, uh, I really think that something like this, as we keep watching my video here, I really think something like this, happening every now and then, a world boss showing up, would be a nice little boost to the game. I'm on, right?
Yeah, they can hear
Yeah,
you.
okay. And also the city incursions that I talked about, every now and then, right? Just every now and then, a notification would come up that said the inevitable city is now open to be raided, or Outdorf is now open to be raided. And when that happened, a portal would show up in the war camp of either Order or Destruction in the Chaos Waste. You could go there, click on the portal. It would take you to the opposite city, and you could stage raids, and it was a blast. So that live event, which was sometime within the last year when that happened, when you had
It
the
was
live event
it was last year.
last year, yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah. It led to some interesting fights, because you had people that went in with full war bands, and
Yeah.
you even had some people that made the mistake of logging out and forgetting, and then coming back after the fact and logged in the middle of the opposing faction city, because it was the last place they logged out.
Well, uh, my train of thought there, but just the idea of being able to raid, not a city siege so much, just being able to raid the opposing city every now and then.
Yeah.
And
Basically, go in and just do as much havoc as you can.
yeah, for a little while, and then again the whole the double renown, double experience. Just every now and then, just out of the blue, a notification would come up, and that says, for the next 4 hours, for the next 6 hours, whatever, double renown is in effect. Our double crest drop, for the next 8 hours, because the devs love you all so much, because we, the devs, love you as players all so much for the next 8 hours, double crest drop. Why not? Why not? Why not? And again, it just every now and then, on a completely random basis, it would just show up. And the only one that anyone's voiced any concern about, or anything about it at all, is my Hand of God suggestion. But I think even that could be. I think even that has its potential. I think even that has a place. Because again, you're talking about something that's only going to happen, on rarely would be the term for that one. Rarely, right? Um, so, and like I said, that's the one part of these. I actually talked to Wargrinder once, back when he would talk to me. But anyway, I talked to him once about this suggestion, the whole Hand of God, and he actually liked that one. He thought it was, that he thought it could be fun. But
And
okay,
slight interruption. As was just pointed out in my chat, the login server is being worked on. They're aware that it's down, so sit tight, gang. They'll have it up and working again. It happens every so often. It has trouble, and the powers that be gotta kick the hamster to get it to go again. And welcome into the chat there, Techno.
okay. Well, I've kind of that was my big suggestion for the podcast. That was my big topic, I should say.
Yeah,
The random chain of events.
yeah, it's an interesting concept, and people should be open to the idea. I mean, during some of those live events when they've had that happen with the city invade, where you can invade the opposing city, people enjoyed it. So I don't understand why there's all the fuss about, well, that's that won't work. I'm like, it worked during the the event. So
Well,
what's the problem now?
that's an excellent point. That is an excellent point. That is an excellent point. If people enjoyed it during the live event, why not on a random basis as well? Because I put video up. I have another video on my YouTube page that happened some years ago, where the Everqueen, the actual Everqueen, showed up, and that's another random event that could take place. And in the past, they've also had, I don't remember the exact name, but they did a live event where all took place in Reichland. I have video of this too, where there was a giant swordmaster guy, whoever the big swordmaster, in the lore. I don't follow the lore as closely as other people, but whoever the big giant swordmaster, hero,
Kane.
And then they also had a Doc. Chosen. I'm sorry, the big giant chosen god guy. Okay, they showed up on the battlefield and were able to fight each other, and both sides had these supporting armies, and so we fought in Reichland. And against each other, and somebody was actually playing the heroes. Right, there was somebody was actually playing both of those figures, and that was a lot of fun. And so another suggestion could be is on a random basis. Let's suppose it have to be completely random for both sides. Okay, so one day they're playing, and on the order side, the Everqueen shows up, and while the Everqueen is in the game, order gets a 10% boost to whatever. Okay, or you're playing, and all of a sudden, this giant uh, chosen shows up, whatever his name was. And while he's on the battlefield, all of destruction gets a 10% boost to whatever stat, whatever you want to apply it to. 10% to round gain, or 10% to initiative, or 10%, just some, you get some bonus.
A random buff.
Yeah, like our 10% defense, or just um, some bonus stat for the period of time while the Everqueen is on the battlefield, our Corn is on the battlefield, our the Giant Swordmaster is on the battlefield, or Bugs Bunny's on, whoever, because all these skins exist. I'm not talking about the developers having to recode a whole bunch of stuff just to make this happen, because all this stuff already exists, because it's all already been done. And I have the video to prove it. It's all already been done.
You're just saying reintroduce it in a different
Reintroduce
way.
it, yeah, just
in a different way that would spice things up and introduce a new dynamic to what is here, and not have to expend resources to come up with something entirely new. And slight interruption, guys. If for those that aren't paying attention, Techno is one of the CMs. He's saying Max is working on it. The login server's having issues. So if you're in the game already, stay logged in. If not, please, be patient. Sometimes it takes a minute, but they will get it working. So don't have a meltdown. In the meantime, feel free to weigh in on the conversation of what's been discussed. I mean, the whole point of the podcast is to put forward ideas. I've tried relentlessly to impress that upon people, but ultimately it's up to you guys in the player base to, say yay or nay. And sitting silently doesn't really cut it. You gotta get involved. Many times I get told, well, the devs never listen. Yeah, actually, yes, they do. And when they've come on the show, they've expressed the interest of wanting to hear your ideas. They can't hear the ideas if you don't share them. And the reason I took to doing the podcast is because the forums are so cluttered, they simply don't have the time to go searching through all of it to try to find posts. So I've just made it easier for them to hear what you guys are thinking, providing you step forward and put your suggestions forward. It's not about me. It's not about my channel. This is simply a way to get the communication between the community and the devs going again. It's up to you guys to take advantage of it. If you don't, that's on you. Alright, all yours, Karis. I just wanted to put that in there.
Well, like I said, that was. I did have another topic. There was another thread on the forums that I wanted to talk about. It was somebody had put up a 1v1. Well, somebody had put up a 1v1 thread that I posted in, and was pretty active. It was a pretty active thread, and yet for some reason the entire thread was deleted off of the forums. So there's really, because I had actually posted in the thread that I would bring it up today, but now the thread is gone, so I can't cite any of the issues that were raised. But the 1v1, the gist of it was that someone thought that the 1v1 aspect of the game was gone, was dead. That's the word they used. 1v1 is dead. I disagree. It's harder. It's more difficult. It's more difficult to find a 1v1 encounter than it used to be. Absolutely, that is absolutely true. But you can still find them if you're willing to take the time, right? If you're willing to take the time and roam about, you can still find them. But it is harder because the norm nowadays is for people to move in mass, groups of 6, 12, 24 even. But one point I made in that thread before it was deleted, that a good solo player, someone made the comment that solo players have absolutely no use, no value in an open zone, and I disagree, because a solo player can sometimes pull an entire opposing warband away from whatever it is they're doing. Because for a limited amount of time, that entire warband wants to chase that person down and get that 24v1 kill. Okay. While they're doing that, it opens a window for your side to move out and accomplish something. Now, that's just one reason that solo players still have value in the game. Solo players by default make better scouts, because solo players use the terrain far better than a warband does. A warband just blobs down the middle of the road, right? When a warband goes from point A to point B, they just bulldoze their way from one point to the next. Solo players don't do that, or you don't last long. Solo players have to circumvent the high traffic areas and all that kind of stuff. So they do make for better scouting. There's a lot that a solo player can do. Not to mention the fact that it's just more fun. So, how can you play the game? The server status shows it offline. I got DC'd from the game. Yeah, the login server's down, but
anyone that's already in the game will still be in the game unless they log out or get disconnected. So as long as I don't log out, I'm still in the game, even though the login server's down. It just means if I tried to log back in, I wouldn't get in.
And then there's one more issue I want to bring up, and maybe somebody will comment on this one. But as Toth Monra said a moment ago, Techno is part of the Return of Reckoning team. He's one of the lead community managers. He actually does stuff for the server. And today is his birthday. Today is Techno's birthday. His party is tomorrow. Now, the party is tomorrow. He's got, we're a bunch of his high school buddies. But his actual birthday is coming over. We're gonna have a party and all that. But today is Techno's birthday. So.
Well, congrats to him. Another year goes by.
Yeah, his mom would be in tears. I can guarantee you that. I'm not that. I mean, I'm happy for him, but I can't believe it either. I mean, my God. Seems like yesterday. I was at the hospital when he was born.
Time flies. I know. I've helped raise 13 kids in my life, all from infants, and each and every one of them, you blink and they're grown. It's like the youngest one, my cousin, helped raise. She's got 2 daughters now. She won't talk to me, but that's because of her own choosing, because she's just stubborn. but it
Well, yesterday he and I went out. I don't tell anybody. This will just be our secret. But yesterday I let him stay out of school, and we went out and I bought him a birthday meal at a restaurant in town, and then we went to GameStop. We went to GameStop and he got a game that he wanted. So, and then like I say, tomorrow's the party.
no no
Asteroids,
nice.
Asteroid, since you said happy birthday in the chat, you're now invited. You're invited to the party tomorrow. We're gonna have pizza and chicken wings and um, my son's world famous nachos. My other,
Oh God,
my
I can't handle nachos. Ugh.
you can't eat. Oh, he makes Dorito nachos, man. He makes them out of
I
Doritos.
I have tried Doritos with the nacho cheese. I can't do it.
Yeah, well,
But that's now. When I was younger, I used to love to eat spicy stuff, including no, I used to eat nachos with jalapenos on them.
yeah,
But that's
yeah.
but that's the Spanish side of me. I love my spicy foods. Eh, but I can't do it anymore because my health won't forgive me on that one.
All right, Techno says the login server should be up again. So,
Uh,
um, all right, buddy. I don't know. That was, I prepared
no,
my one primary issue for the day, which
well,
was
you went over a couple.
randomness.
Yeah, you went over a couple of different things, and it's all solid ideas, suggestions of what could be done. And the only thing I had really to bring to the table today was pretty much on those lines of what could be done to try and break things up. And ultimately, the player base is its own worst enemy because they won't they won't change what they're doing. They don't want anything to rock the boat. They just
Well,
want
I'm sorry.
they just want to take the easiest route.
Well, that does remind me of one other quick topic, I suppose. And I guess back on the topic of the surrender option, which again that thread is still on the forums. The remove the surrender option. Um, I think part of the problem in scenarios is that there appear to be, and I will use that term, there appear to be a number of people who are playing scenarios, particularly on the order side. And it's more common on order. I see it more on order than I do destruction. Who apparently are not aware of or are just ignoring some basic mechanics of scenario play. That it doesn't matter what scenario you're playing. Now, for those of you who had followed my Warhammer videos that I've published over time and all that, and ever saw any of the scenario guide videos I did 24 videos on 24 different scenarios once. And it was a dedicated series, right, to how to fight. But the point of all of them was I'm a mechanics guy. I'm a strategy and tactics guy. I'm not a build, the builds, the specs, I leave that stuff to other people. If somebody asks me about it, fine, I'll talk about it. But my point was how to best play a particular scenario. But all of them have some things in common. And one of the things each and every scenario has in common is that when the timer hits and you can leave the war camp, leave the war camp. I can't, almost every scenario I get into, the timer will click down to 0 to start the 15-minute time frame for the scenario, and nobody moves. Or one or two people move, and then You look behind you and there are still people standing around at the war camp, or everybody's coming out in one big long line like a snake. And I did one of the Demon Ball Rally SCs where 30 seconds into the scenario, order had not even cleared the war camp yet, but destruction. And since I was out there to see this, destruction in that same 30 seconds had already gone to the middle, picked up the skull, the demon ball, and were running the demon ball towards the score point. So on 30 seconds, you had one side that had already left the war camp, picked up the demon ball, and were moving it to score, while the other side hadn't even left the fracking war camp yet. And then people wonder why they lose. And oh my God, we have to do something about the surrender vote or whatever. People wonder why they lose. Okay. That's one of the reasons, because you're not playing to the best mechanics. Now, it's true, you might get all 12 or 18 or whatever of the order guys to leave the war camp all at the same time and get out to where they need to go. And you still might lose the SC, but at least you tried. At least you tried. Now, here's a question I'm going to ask of the intelligentsia that's in here today. And you're free to come in and prove me wrong if you wish. Take a scenario like Calidor Woods, where there's a single flag capture mechanic. If you refuse to go to that flag, you cannot capture it. Is that true or false? If you refuse to go to the flag, you cannot capture it. Is that true or false?
Yeah, that'd generally
Anyone?
be true. That'd generally be true. You're not gonna move to go cap the BO. I mean, how are you gonna get it?
Okay, the same is true for the Demon Ball. In the Demon Ball Rally essay, if you refuse to go to where the Demon Ball is, how are you ever going to pick it up to run it? And
Well, that's
so
providing
people wonder why.
that's providing you get people that are actually in there to play the SC. Most of them run in there and only are focused on just
Yeah, but
kill farming.
yeah, but that's a nuance, and I've talked about this before. That's a nuance. If you have two groups that get into an SC that are only interested in fighting each other, okay, fine. That's a great SC too. That can be a fun SC too. But that's the other side of the same. That's the opposite side of the same coin, right? But if you have a group in there that wants to try to win, it's also true that the most effective means, not the only means, but the most effective means to win a scenario is to win the mechanics, is to play them to the mechanics of that SC and score the most points. Now, you can win off just beating up the enemy. I'm not saying you can't. Of course you can. But it's two different sides of the same coin. So if I'm in an SC and all anybody wants to do is fight each other, okay, I'm down with that. What bothers me, though, is when you get a group that will push all the way across a map to the opposing side and then park their butts over there as if nothing else is going on. And invariably, someone will sneak in behind you and pick up the demon ball or capture the flag or run the part or, whatever, right? While you're just standing around trying to get a few more kills at the spawn point. That's aggravating too. And it's like, why are you guys doing this? Why? Do you not see that we're losing the SC on points because all you want to do is spawn camp farm?
That's
Okay, so
that's the usual case with most.
yeah,
That they go into SCs with the intent to farm kills, not push to win the SC. I've had people ridicule me when I capture flags or run objectives. They're like, you're ruining the farm. I get so tired of that, and I'll just keep doing it anyway. I had one pre-made that got irate with me because I interrupted their farm fest because I kept running the objective to score the points to end the scenario. They actually tried to stop me by essentially standing there and tried to body block me from moving.
I've had that happen too. God, what is it? Gromrill Cross? No, Stone Troll Crossing. I'm sorry, Stone Troll Crossing. Where you pick up the pacifier, and you'll be trying to run the pacifier, and some of your own team will come and get right in front of you. And I've made that point over and over again too, that if you're in a scenario where someone has to run a flag, run a part, like what is the, where you pick up the salvage part, and if you have to run something, stay out of the way, stay out of their way. But it just that's just a basic tenet of playing a scenario.
Yeah.
If you've got the pacifier in Stone Troll Crossing, it's okay to go with the guy to try to protect the guy, but stay out of the way. And it's just annoying when people do that, because collision, they want to stop you for some reason. So anyway, I might, I've been toying with the idea of doing another video. I made a new Warhammer video last night. I just haven't posted it yet on my YouTube page, but it's been a while since I made a Warhammer video, but I made one last night. I'll put it up because I've been doing stuff. I've been doing reviews of like a Loki season 2 and
I guess
other stuff like that.
I've been seeing, but yeah, there's a lot of what you said. I mean, with the ideas you put forward is things that could be easily put in that's already been in one shape or form, so there shouldn't really be an issue to it. That's why I don't understand people's resentment of it. I'm like, and I mean, I hate to say it, but you got a handful that are bent on, they don't want change. And I know people hear me say it often, but it's the simple truth. The player base is its own worst enemy when it comes to how this game operates. Sure, the devs make mistakes. Sure, they can put stuff in that doesn't make sense or might not be, the most favored thing. But ultimately, the player base and the way they choose to do things is what's going to decide things. I mean, if both sides, if the player base decides, oh, well, let's take the easiest route, don't fight and just milk the system, where we can just sit here and kill each other mindlessly and not do anything other than that. I'm like, it doesn't matter what the devs put in or take away if you guys won't stop doing the very things that you say you hate.
Okay. Well, like I said earlier, I do have to cut my presence short here, because
no worries. I understand.
my son and I, we do have to be somewhere at 2:00. So
I appreciate you coming in, Karis, as always.
Well, I appreciate you letting me make my point. I mean, I just another 30 seconds on it. I mean, I think the whole randomness thing, introducing some form of just something different into the game can't help but be a positive, because one more way to look at it is, why do people try new games? Why do people go to play a different game? Because they want to play something different. They've gotten used to the system that's in place. sorry, you want to try something different, so you go try another game. Maybe you'll come back. Not everybody does. But I think if we could introduce that feel into Return to Reckoning, that sense of, okay, something different is going on here, people might not only get more enjoyment out of it, but might stick around longer, you know? So, okay,
It's all possible. I mean, again, bottom line, we won't know unless we try something.
yeah,
And you're always gonna have the naysayers because